how to find your confidence after losing it. Welcome back to the Quarter Life Baker. Today I'm just following along with some meal prep that I did earlier in the week. I just did mashed potatoes with like Swedish meatballs on top. Pretty nice recipes in the description. But getting into the actual topic at hand, how to find your confidence after losing it. Now, we can all lose our confidence, and we all will in different stages of our lives, whether we be, in high school, in uni, through your first job, maybe you've just been promoted to a manager, or something with your family, like different stages within our lives. All of us have the capacity to lose our confidence. And it might be like a gradual decline in confidence. Maybe you were super duper confident in your 20s, and then you realize, okay, I'm in my 30s now, and now I'm, slowly losing the gusto that I had. It's a very real thing that happens to a lot of people. Or it might be a case of something happens to you externally, like maybe you get made redundant, maybe you get broken up with, or something like that, and your confidence is just shattered into a million pieces. And it feels awful. Like, I feel like everyone watching this video can probably relate to having that moment where you're unsure of yourself. You think back of things that you're actually really good at, and then question like, was I actually that good? Is it all worth everything? Am I ever going to get it back? Am I always going to feel this way? And this pending imposter syndrome just lays in the background. This feelings of paranoia and just feeling like, okay, well, that's what happened. And that's how I used to be, and then now that's not how I am anymore. And I suppose one piece of advice, and probably the only piece of advice I'd give you, is enjoy it. Enjoy the feeling of feeling unconfident, which I feel might be quite controversial. And in the moment, you're probably just itching to, getting back to feeling like normal again. But you need to remember that everything is temporary. Just as how if you're watching this video and you are feeling super duper confident within yourself, that's temporary. If you're going through something particularly tough at work or in your personal life, that's temporary. Everything will pass. So embrace the feeling and remember that it's temporary. It's not the rest of your life. Think back to, where you were 6 months ago, 12 months ago, 5 years ago, and realize like hopefully you were in a very different place then, and you will be at a very different place in 6, 12 months time. So always keep that in mind. Remember that you had your confidence before, and you will find it again. None of us are broken. We are temporarily broken sometimes when something bad happens, like a death in the family or whatever, and that's fine. But we've had confidence before, and we will continue to have it again. Life is very much a series of ebbs and flows where you might go a week or a couple months or even a couple years of feeling super duper awesome, super duper confident. And then you'll go that same amount of period feeling really lost and lack of purpose and feeling really unconfident within yourself. But remembering that you had your confidence once before and that you'll find it once again will hopefully instill in you some semblance of confidence. And it's the small steps, the easily achievable goals that ultimately get you back on track. So an example I like to think of is if you're a really habit-driven person, like you get up at 6 a.m, you go to the gym, do meditation, like you practice the language or whatever, and you've got a really set routine with a bunch of really good habits. First of all, that's awesome. Congratulations to have all that going for you. But there probably will come a time where you can't do all of that all at once anymore. And then after that external thing has happened, and once you want to get back into the flow of things, you got to remember that you're not going to just jump into where you were at the peak. You're not going to jump into getting up at 6 a.m. every single day, going to the gym every single day. It's the small steps that will get you there. So that might look like getting up at 6 a.m. just during the weekdays, and on the weekends you sleep in. It might mean going to the gym just once a week, just to really just get you back into the habit. It might mean relearning all the language that you were learning before and that you haven't picked up since. It's small steps that lead to easily achievable goals. And remember, and hopefully you do have this, you have people around you. You've got support networks. Even if you're not super duper close with your family or you don't feel like you have many friends, there are support networks there for people who you haven't even met yet. Support groups in your local areas, in your communities, people online. Remembering to compare yourself correctly is also a big thing. You should never really compare yourself to anyone besides yourself. I think comparing yourself to yourself is a great metric, but it's not always relevant. You shouldn't compare yourself to where you were in your prime when you had, a super great physique and all this energy and you didn't have commitments like children or university or whatever. Like, all these things make you a different person to who you are now. You're different to the person you were last week, let alone the person you were 5 years ago. So remembering to compare yourself correctly. I feel like a good comparison is, how happy am I compared to how I used to be? And if the answer's about the same, if not more happier, then you're on a great path. But if that's not the case, that's also all right too, so long as you get out of it as quickly as you can. Now, eventually you will get your confidence back, whether it be through the things that I've mentioned or simply just times on your side and you finally feel like you're confident to get back out there and achieve your goals again. Some things to keep in mind are avoiding whatever caused your lack of confidence, avoiding that as best as you can. So if you knew, okay, well, the reason why I dropped all my confidence is because of this horrible thing that happened because I got put in a really unfortunate circumstance that I could have avoided, then avoid it next time, And be grateful to the people and the support networks and the resources that helped you along the way. There's a great quote by, I think, Denzel Washington when he says, once you get back up, reach back, help someone else, each one, teach one. It's an awesome quote. Why shouldn't we give back, especially in situations like this where it's not going to cost you anything financially? It'll cost you a bit of time, but more than likely people gave you their time when you needed it most. So, paying it forward. And then just by doing that, it creates such an immense effect that not many people actually realize. So probably the best piece of advice, if you take anything from this video, remember that. And probably the last thing I want to talk about is recognize that your new state, your newly acquired confident state, can always change again. And remembering to be adaptive. Whatever happened to you, you clearly weren't adaptive and, or maybe that's not the case, I'm not sure. But remembering what happened last time and doing your best to learn from it, being adaptive, recognizing that everything is temporary, will hopefully safeguard you from the next major thing that will help you, that will cause you to drop your confidence. So treat the feeling as an opportunity to grow. I know it can be a bit positivity, wishy-washy nonsense sometimes, but it's true. And more than often, the simple things, the simple pieces of advice are the most powerful. We just don't follow it. So this has been the Quarter Life Baker. I really hope you've enjoyed this one. This is one that I've experienced personally a lot myself, trying to find my confidence after losing it. So hopefully you took something from this video. Enjoy the recipe if you end up baking it, and just be happy. It's that simple.